Tell us what was the inspiration for the show?
The inspiration for the show was cocktail hour, or like a cocktail reception, like before, after like some event. I saw these like Congress, in Congress they had these like all these little standing height tables that were set up for cocktails, and you work the room and you work your way around them. And so I just thought, what if you inverted that and you made the space where you stand the tables and the space where you walk around the table.
So can you speak a little bit about this kind of a frame or a structure to play or to do something with?
Yeah. Yeah, so no, I was really interested in this idea about Facebook that we talked about, where Facebook acts as a frame to facilitate a kind of like social interaction or a social identity. And so the idea is you're given this tiny little box, and you're the same as everybody else's, like this modular box to be expressionistic within. And so I was thinking about that kind of like facilitation of the box or the frame to facilitate or create a kind of interaction or feeling or expression because of the oppressive frame. So.
Well, it's funny because I think that now it's almost impossible to identify a condition without the sort of relationship that it has to living in digital culture somehow. But the fact is that at the opening, what struck me was how analog this thing was. I mean, the fact is that I felt like every time I emerged, I entered into a jacuzzi with, like a hot tub with like 6 people I didn't know. And I was sort of weirdly close to them. I mean, it was like, maybe this was made for 5 people, but in the opening, this had like 10, 12 people in it, and you were right up against them, and it was like super sexy and really like you could smell people and, like rub up against them. It was totally analog.
Do you want to talk a little bit about all the bleached images, maybe the plants in relationship to the holes, or like what?
Yeah, well, I mean, all of the pieces, or many of the pieces I was thinking of in different ways. I was thinking as a whole kind of as stations, like in a kind of ritualistic way, like maybe referencing different domestic rituals or American rituals. I thought of the thing in the front of it actually goes into the wall, so it references like this interface kind of, there's a lot of like different takes on an interface, but there's this part where you can put your hands into the wall, and I don't think that anybody actually is going to do it, but just the idea that you can see yourself doing it, so I feel like it's already done, kind of. And then there are other pieces that have cup holders and that relate to like computers or views out in a kind of maybe cinematic way, or in a kind of like, like you're in a structure, an imagined structure looking out, like a view. And then there's, cup holders. I used cup holders in 3 different things. I actually made just an addition of cup holders that goes on the wall. But some of them have cup holders to kind of reference the here and now, and like to be, be in the place where you are in a kind of like introspective way, I guess. And I think like with this car one, you're in a car and it just should have cup holders if you're in a car. So, but I think they also kind of relate to candles or something, the absence of candles in a kind of like altar kind of way.
Yeah, the level of finish, which is sort of, it's kind of stuck in between worlds. It has an almost Gober-like lumpiness in a way, and yet it's also trying to be industrial. It's like you obviously could make these industrial if you wanted to. And so they have a kind of an affection, of a furniture maker.
Handmade industrial.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always have like the father that wants to make something for their kid. In the garage, like the crazy dad who's like, oh no, we're gonna make it ourselves, and they they really try to make it really great, but it's like the aesthetic is like the best you can do, and then it's not like about like shopping it out or like it being like industrialized but it's also it's got its issues, and it's a one-off.
You don't have a spray booth, so it's just
right. And I won't get one probably because I feel like thinking about like what you're talking about, like the expressionism within the painting, the way you paint it. I mean, like with your sculptures, like you're like doo 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 doo, and you're just painting it like the fence, but you're like giving it like the actual expressionism. And I think it was just, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see you do it. I saw, it was really interesting because I can imagine there's people who just don't come in.
Right.
And they actually, you know.
There is
fuck
an
them.
egalitarian kind of, you know, point there, I guess, in the end, that we're like, it doesn't matter like what your situation is economically or socially, everybody's got to bend down to see the art,
Yeah.
you know, it's like,
Yeah,
there's only one way to go.
right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.